Let's start Imagination Week 2017 in Singapore. That's the second edition of Imagination in Singapore. But it's not the first one at all. That was the beginning. It was 6 years ago. We decided to create it. I will explain to you why we decided to create Imagination Week. But just to give you any thought about what happened last week at Cergy. We received speakers, amazing speakers. We received Jean-Louis Etienne, we received actors. We drank champagne, too. We also received a cyborg, basically, is this guy, this crazy guy. And of course, have lots of work with students. So we are very, very lucky because basically they didn't have holidays last week. They were in the campus and they worked together. They worked with us about this question of imagination. We also do, and we did, a big message party. So that was certainly the most important message party ever, at least at Cergy or at least at ESSEC. One guy is the most in trouble in that way. It's myself because I'm the last one. So I was supposed to do a message to the cyborg just over there, but nobody take care of myself. Why Imagination Week? Why we decided to create this half crazy or amazing week, according to your point of view? For many reasons. Basically, 3 reasons. The first reason, I'm so sorry, I tried to talk and also, yeah. The first reason is, how is it possible to think differently? Of course, you have your own thought. You can think by yourself. But the question is not how could we think by ourselves. It's also how could we think differently. Thanks to what? Thanks to what we can have a different perspective. That's one of the first objectives. The second one is about diversity. How is it possible to work with different backgrounds? On your case, SMIB students. Some of you talk about this quite weird acronym like AST, ASC, ASTI. It doesn't make sense. You are ESSEC students. And the purpose is how could you work together? And how could we help you to work together with very large diversity, background, nationalities, and so on? One of the third objectives is how could we build a vision, a future? How is it possible to shape your future? The question, how is it possible to have your own ideas, be more open-minded? How could we work with a very large diversity? How is it possible to shape the futures? You need 2 things, just 2. The first one is yourself. You need to do by yourself. You need to do something. The second one is about the knowledge. First, yourself. How could you change yourself? How could you work on yourself? How is it possible to shape your idea, to find your ideas, to work on your ideas in order to shape the future? Let me rephrase. If you don't do by yourself, your environment could be competitors, it could be your friends, it could be your parents, it could be relatives, your environment at large will shape the futures instead of you. So the main point is, I need to take care of myself. You know the famous expression, the futures belong to you. But the point is, how could I do by myself? How could I shape my futures? And if not, who will do instead of me? It's not very easy to do. It's a difference between being active, doing something, or being passive. Some people will do instead of myself. In the very past philosophy, antiquity, we have these 2 ways, the 2 paths. An easy way, someone will take care of me. I will find any support. I don't care about this kind of things. I won't do any effort, and someone will do instead of me. Or the other way, the hard way. I want to do something. I want to achieve something. I will do an effort. I will work on it. It's the hard way. All the time, we call it, with a Latin word, the bivium. The bivium is the difference of the 2 ways, as a fork. One way, hard way, Second one is easy way. What kind of path do we want to take? That is the purpose. In the antique, the Pythagorean said it's very important for each of us as a soldier to choose between the two paths. As a soldier, it could be going to the pleasure or going to the wisdom. But going to the wisdom, it's a hard way. It's a hard way because you will find a lot of obstacles. So the main point is, I will do effort, I will do many things, I will work a lot, but in the meantime, at the end, I will reach the wisdom. When it comes to vice, it is easily reached. The pathway is smooth, and it resides very close to us. But when it comes to virtue, the immortal gods have placed sweat before it. A long, steep pathway leads to it, and it is uneven and unstable at first. But once one reaches the summit, it becomes easy despite its difficulty. That was Hesiod, and he explained exactly this point. What do you want to do in your life? Do you want to be a support, or do you want to do something? That's for individuals, but that's also the case for society. The famous Pericles speeches, and he gave these speeches when the Athenians had to fight to get the ground from the Spartans. And he said this very important sentence: it is necessary to choose in your life at large. That was for the Athenian, but that was the case for you. Rest or to be free. Working to be free, or rest and you won't be free. That's the main point of what we call it the bivium. This very difference between hard way and easy way. That's exactly the case with the choice of Hercules. In different paintings, you can find all the time Hercules just in the middle and the choose between the pleasure, the easy way, that's the case on the right side, or the hard way. But at the end, the wisdom. At the end, effort. At the end, an entrepreneur spirit. That's the case in the different paintings, as you can see here. In the contemporary world, that's exactly the same case with the famous, I presume that most of you know this famous poet, Robert Frost, with this important poem, The Road Not Taken, who explained that what do you want to do in your life? Do you want to take the easy way, I would say the highway, or do you want, at the end, I took the one less traveled by. And that has made all the difference. In all of this poem, it's an explanation of he's in the forest, and he has at the end two ways. Has a highway, the easy way, or it could be the most difficult one, the less traveled by. The point, and it's what you are supposed to do this week, it's to build a castle. If you build a castle, at the end, you have just to do one thing, building the foundation. That's the question of the dream. That's the question of imagination. Henry David Thoreau explained this point in details. If you have built castles in the air, your works need to be lost. That is where they should be. Now put the foundation under them. That's this most important question to you. What do you want to achieve? What do you want to do? To what extent do you want to participate to your own life, to be active in your life, instead of to be passive? But it's not enough. You also need knowledge, some specific knowledge. Most of the time, that's the case here in our business school, we learn some discipline with certain silos. The purpose of the week and the purpose of imagination is how could we combine different disciplines. I would say transdisciplinary, with the prefix trans. The prefix trans means we need to think beyond disciplines. Not just management, not just art, not just social science, but all together. That's the purpose of transdisciplinary, which is very large and different from monodisciplinarity to transdisciplinarity. So the purpose is, how could we learn from transdisciplinarity? How could we receive very and large disciplinarity? And what is the purpose of transdisciplinarity? That was in Portugal more than 25 years ago. They established this charter of transdisciplinarity. We promote the dignity of human being as a citizen of the world, exactly what I explained just at the beginning, with the diversity. The views, education, authentic paths to the development of intuition, imagination, sensibility, and the body. And the final purpose, and why it's so important, this charter grounded in strong ethical principles which posit that the economy must serve the human being and not the reverse. All of these kind of people, it could be from Socrates to Einstein, it could be from Foucault to authors like Pierre and Marie Curie and others, all of them go and went, of course, beyond each discipline. They thought differently than others. They combine all disciplines. That we would like to do with you this week. And we would like to do it with three different parts, three different moments. The first one is about disruption. You will receive lots of different speakers, various speakers from different disciplines. Don't be afraid. You need to accept and to digest all of these kind of disciplines, speakers, and so on. But it's out of your comfort zone. The second is about reflection. I can understand a discipline. I can understand something very different to me, but what does it mean to me? That's the purpose. It's not just receiving variety, various things. It's also, what could I do with that? And at the end, it's, of course, imagine your futures. Thanks to being out of your comfort zone, thanks to thinking about what does it mean to me, I need to shape the future. Shaping the city, state, politics, policy, and the society. That's the theme of your week. And at the end of your week, we will listen to you what is, according to you, the city, states, politics, policy, society by 2050 in the very large futures, long-term futures.